For long-time fans of DroiX, you will know that we started off many years ago with Android TV boxes. It's been a while since we last released our own model, but the time has come to change that with the DroiX X4. Let's get straight on with the unboxing. Up first we have the DroiX X4, which we will show in more detail shortly. Underneath is a power supply. We will include the correct adapter for your country. Next we have the DroiX G10S ARM mouse, which we will show shortly. There is a HDMI cable for connecting to your TV or monitor. And last but not least is a getting started leaflet, which is in full English. The DroiX X4 measures around 4.1 by 4.1 by 0.98 inches and weighs 139 grams. On the front is a LCD panel which shows the current time. You can, if you wish to, make it darker or fully switch it off in the settings. On the left side are two USB ports which you can use for peripherals, and beside those is a micro SD card slot for additional storage. On the back are an AV port followed by optical port for audio. There is a 10100 Ethernet port for wired data and a HDMI port and the power input. The G10S ARM mouse requires two AA batteries, and you can find the USB dongle in the battery compartment. You wouldn't believe how many people we get asking where it is. The G10S has a backlight so you can find the buttons whilst watching TV in the dark. You have all your normal remote buttons for navigation, volume, scrolling up and down, menu and back. With the ARM mouse you can wave your hand around and pretend to be Harry Potter and control the on-screen mouse cursor. Amaze your guests even more with a built-in microphone and voice search on supported apps. It's a great remote and far faster than using the old IR remotes that come with Android boxes. The DroiX X4 features the S905X4 Quad-Core ARM processor with an ARM Mali-G31 MP2 GPU. There's 4GB of DDR3 RAM and 64GB internal storage. It supports up to 4K 60Hz with HDR10, 10+ and HLG for the best quality video. For wireless connectivity there is Wi-Fi 5 and Bluetooth. The DroiX is passively cooled, so there's no annoying fan to hear. We measured the ice temperature of 50 degrees whilst running a benchmark. We will run a few benchmarks to see how well it performs. You can use the results to compare with other Android boxes. Geekbench runs a series of tests on devices to measure the performance. We are running the CPU benchmark, which tests the single and multi-core performance. We get scores of 139 for single core and 470 for multi-core. Next up is Antutu, which runs a series of tests covering the CPU, GPU, RAM and storage. On screen is a breakdown of the results. We get a final score of 101,393, which is a great result. Last but not least is 3D Mark Mobile, which benchmarks the CPU and GPU for their combined performance. It's not only good for gaming, but also tasks such as video decoding. On the Slingshot benchmark we got a score of 596, and on the Wildlife benchmark we got a score of 187. A brief demonstration next showing the video playback. We start with a 4K and 8K video file in KD Player. Both work great with no dropped frames. It can decode 8K videos just fine, but it will output them to 4K. And for YouTube we're streaming a 4K video. Again, the playback is just fine with no issues. There's fast loading times and no dropped frames. The DroiX X4 comes with Google Play Store installed, so you have access to millions of apps on there. You can download and update any apps from there with no issues at all, and you can of course install apps from other sources. There is also an option in the settings to switch between a rooted and unrooted device. You don't even need to reboot to do so, which is great. There's a number of apps pre-installed on the DroiX X4, including the media players, KD Player and Media Center, as well as standard and mobile versions of YouTube. There's Google Chrome, File Manager and App Installer software. eShare is a very useful app. With it, you can control your DroiX X4 with your Android, iPhone or iPad. Simply download the eShare app on your device and follow the instructions to connect. Once you are connected, you can use it as a remote control with cursor and normal navigation. You can also stream videos from your phone to the DroiX X4. You can also send photos and change the orientation and so on. Other features include phone and device mirroring. It's a very useful app. You can turn the DroiX X4 into an Android gaming box and an even better retro gaming system when paired up with one of our EasySMX gamepads. We like the ESM9110 the best, but all three work great with the DroiX X4. There are many native Android games that support gaming controllers and they make the games far more enjoyable. Would you rather play on a big screen instead of a phone pressing on-screen buttons? We tried a number of games and the ones with compatible controller settings worked great. What we really enjoyed was installing the Xbox Cloud streaming app and playing AAA Windows games just as if you were sitting in front of a PC or Xbox. Providing you have a fast enough internet speed, you will have no issues streaming the games with no lag or artifacts. While the DroiX X4 is decent for gaming, we also get very good performance for emulation. If you want to get up and running for retro gaming fast, then we recommend installing RetroArch. We have an easy to follow step-by-step guide linked in the description for how to install and set it up. With RetroArch you have access to dozens of classic consoles and computers, ranging from the Atari 2600 right up to more modern systems. You will have no problems running all of the 8 and 16-bit consoles and computers from that era. You can run up to PlayStation just fine. For other systems around this era and above, we recommend installing separate apps as they usually perform better. For PPSS-PP you will have mixed results. The lower demanding games, or games that run at 30 FPS, you should have overall no problems with. For higher demanding games you will definitely need to use frame skipping to get games working. You can learn more and buy your DroiX X4 at droix.co.uk or droix.net and use the discount code DroiX X4 on the checkout. That wraps up our review of the DroiX X4. We hope you have found it useful. Please subscribe if you have not already to keep up to date with our latest videos. Thanks for watching and we hope to see you back in the next one.